God, this game sucks!
You're playing through an absolute banger of a game. This is your first time playing through it, and you're absolutely loving everything it has to offer. The atmosphere, the characters, the gameplay, the visuals, they're all great, and there's nothing in your mind that can ruin that experience. And then you reach it. You reach the wall. And not just any wall, the wall. And this wall is impeding everything you're enjoying and doing in the game. Everything you loved about this game is now completely obscured by this wall. And now that it's obscured, this game now seems infuriating, unfair, and most importantly, not enjoyable or fun. Everything you loved about this game doesn't matter to you anymore. This is something that we've all been through. That terrible, innate feeling when we get to a game that we've been having a great time with suddenly becomes this embodiment of rage that makes us think that this game is terrible and this wall ruins the whole experience for us. Whether it's a boss fight or a level being the wall, it's not the most pleasant feeling. But this is when you just need to persevere, keep going until you finally make it over that wall, and that feeling will go away. But it's not as simple as that, is it now? It's easy for someone to tell you that all you need to do is keep trying and eventually they'll overcome it. When you're having a great time with the game, and when your usual playstyle is completely ruptured by this wall, it's a great way to make you lose any self-confidence you've had in the game. Now, what is the wall exactly? The wall is usually a point in the game where the game tells you you are nothing, come back when you get good, and thanks for playing. This takes the form of extremely weird or difficult bosses, or sometimes in the case of strange or difficult level designs. But that's not all the wall is. It's when you spend an unreasonable amount of time doing these bosses or levels. And I don't mean like doing them over 2 or 4 times. I mean an unreasonable amount of attempts. And sometimes these attempts themselves can take an unruly amount of time, and you feel like slamming your head against an actual wall. Let's look at an example that took some people like myself by surprise. You're playing Persona 5 Royal. You're loving the characters, the story, the gameplay, everything feels right. And then you're reaching the end of Okumura's palace, and you have one last boss fight in the palace. And no matter if you're a returning player from the original Persona 5 or a newcomer, this boss is one you'll never see coming. The boss against Okumura himself is where the game tells the player that they really don't know how the battle system works. The original boss fight was pathetic and easy and no one liked it, so what did they do? They made this fight more unlikable by making it waves of hard enemies that take huge consideration of the baton pass and knockdown strategy, and it sucks. It's just a really hard boss fight. It's frustrating for where you are in the game, and no one likes it. This isn't the same as taking on super bosses or challenges in post-game territory, where you've already had your full game experience and just want more of the game and challenge. Taking on like your Zora from Kingdom Hearts 3 or the Emerald weapon in Final Fantasy 7 are just extra challenges that you're intentionally inflicting upon yourself. Actually, given the nature of Kingdom Hearts games these days, you could probably argue against that. The wall only appears during your initial playthrough. Even games in the Souls series have their own walls. Dark Souls does, Bloodborne does, Crash Bandicoot does, Hollow Knight and Sekiro all have their own walls. Just because these are Souls games and are meant to be more difficult than your average Mario or RPG experience, they can have their own incredibly giant walls. The wall, though it is imposing, it is also beautiful in a weird, twisted way. Because the thing about the wall is that it appears differently for everyone in different ways. I mentioned how hard of a time I had with Okumura from Persona 5, but someone else may have beaten it on their second attempt, and the wall for them may have been something completely different, or even dealt with it in the first place. I might have spent hours on the Undying boss fight Undertale, but my friends, or even you watching, might have done it on your 3rd attempt, and the only actual challenge for you was Sans at the end. In Xenoblade, someone may have struggled with the Lorithia boss, but you crushed Gattold's 2nd fight. But the opposite could be true for someone else. Someone may have struggled with Gattold's 2nd fight, but was fine against Lorithia. This is the twisted beauty of the wall. The most damning and disgusting thing about the wall, though, is what it does to people. it isn't that you just struggle against hitting the wall over and over again and it ruins any momentum and fun you had and enjoyment you were having. It might just bring out the worst in you. Not because you're an angry person. Not at all. Let's say you've been having a rough time in school or work and you're working on a huge project that's really stressful, and to get through it you've been playing Kingdom Hearts 2.5 on the side on your PS4. You enjoyed it on your PS2 when you were younger, and you're loving it all over again on your PS4. And then Axel dies, and you go through the world that never was, and instead of the usual Roxas cutscene that happens, it is now a boss battle, and it is hard. You've lost 9 times now. Each time you need to walk all the way back to fight Roxas again, and after coming so close to winning, you still lose again. And knowing you can't just retry the boss fight and you have to walk all the way back, skip the cutscene, do all that over again, you just snap. This game that was so much fun, that was an escape from all that stress at work or school, it all just rises to the surface and you just lose it. You either mumble to yourself, slam your controller, slam the desk, or maybe even scream and yell. You see this all the time in content creators, on YouTube or even live on Twitch.
Motherfucker!
Holy fuck.
This guy 2 times back!
It might be a subtle sting, but you know better to get mad. But the more the wall doesn't give, the more you start to lose it. So, through all of this, how do you push through this moment of crisis? It's not just telling yourself that it's just a game and you have to get good and eventually win. No, it's looking past what's after the level or the boss fight. The relief after beating that impossible task will be euphoric. The great story you've been experiencing will continue. The next stage or area will look fantastic and look amazing. It may even be the end of the game. You get to tell people how you did it and how you finally overcame this task. If it's not the end of the game, maybe the next part of the game will be more challenging. But because you went through that hardship against the wall, you now have the experience, the strength, and mental fortitude to keep you going, hypothetically speaking. Or maybe nothing will be awful or bullshit as that moment at the wall was for you. But that moment, that busting through the wall, that will be a moment saved only for you. And it will be truly triumphant. Hey, thanks for watching this video on those frustrating moments in video games. If you like what you saw here, maybe drop a like, and maybe even consider subscribing. There is plenty more to look forward to in the future. Trust me. And I truly hope you enjoyed your time here. Thank you.